Hello my friends, good morning from the northwest of England. I hope you're all doing okay. This is Sam back here for another little video. Hello, I'm just in my conservatory in the northwest of England, just having a little bit of fun, faffing around with beads and wire as we like to do on this channel. Hope you're doing all right. Let me know in the comments what you've been up to. What have you been making? And let's jump straight in, shall we, and have a look what I've been making this week. So these little gorgeous little stars, how cute are those? These are going to be earrings. These are going to be earrings. Aren't they lovely? Beautiful, beautiful. And I also like mixed metals actually. So I've made this one, which we're going to be replicating today, into a pendant. How beautiful is that? So we're going to be making a pearl one because I fancy a pearl one. That's just how I feel. Let's have a pearl one. So we're going to go through how to make these beautiful things today. There's lots and lots and lots of different people make these in very, very many different ways with different gauge wires, you know, different size beads, that kind of thing. These can be adapted. I'm going to be using a 6mm bead today, but these can be adapted to accommodate for larger beads or smaller ones. Some people like to put 5 points around. I'm going to be using, let's have a look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yes, 7 points, and we'll go through a list of materials. I'm going to make these into earrings. Now, if you wanted mirror image earrings, the bit where you wind the wire around, you would just do it in the opposite direction. So I'm just going to get rid of these and we'll go through a list of materials. So I'll pop that there. So to start with, you're going to need some 1mm, that's 18 gauge bare copper wire, or indeed any wire if you're choosing. I'm choosing to use the 1mm bare copper because I like it. And you're also going to need 0.5, now what is that? I'll put it on the screen when I find out what it is. I keep thinking I must write it on here. 0.5mm. I'll put the gauge equivalent on somewhere around here maybe. You're also going to need some beads, so I'm going to just be simply using a 6mm pearl. The only thing that you need to do is to make sure that your 1mm wire goes through the bead. All right, so that's the only proviso. What else are we going to need? Usual tools. You're going to need some pliers, some cutters. I'm using my 6-step bow making plier. All of the usual suspects, as I call them. You're going to need a Sharpie, and I'll tell you why in a second. You're going to need just a ruler, simple ruler, an emery board or a file, and what else? Let's have a think. Perhaps, I think that's it actually, apart from a little dropper bead if you choose to put a dropper on yours, which I'm going to because I think they're cute. Right, that's it. So let me clear the board away and we will get going and we'll make this beautiful droplet for a pendant. Okay, I'll see you in a few. And we are back. So are we ready to have a bit of fun with some wire? So the first thing you're going to need to do is get 4 lengths of 1mm wire. So let's stretch this out a little bit. I'm going to suggest, I don't know, about 6 inches, 5 inches. You're probably better off with 6. You probably get away with 5 to be fair. Let's have a look. Yeah, about 5 inches, 13 centimeters, something like that. So you're going to need 4 pieces of your 1mm wire. So we'll just create these. That's 1, 2, oops, 2, and then 3 and 4. And this is for your wire wrapping base wires. So we'll call these base wires. You just need 4 of them. So I should have done this ahead of time, but I didn't. So, you know, blame me for taking up your time. There you go, 4 pieces. Right, so we want to try and make these as straight as possible, but there's going to be a bit of bending and a bit of faffing going on with these. Right, so these 4 wires constitute the base wires that we're going to be winding are 0.5 wire around. All right, now this is how I do mine, because when you're holding these and you're wrapping around, I get confused with which wire's which, etc, etc. So I number my wires. So, and I'll show you how that's helpful for me anyway. I mean, you choose to do it how you like to do it, but come in with my Sharpie and I put a little mark on the end, just one mark like so. Okay, and then I put 2 on this one. So all the way around, and then 2 all the way around. Yep. And then obviously 3 and 4. And I'll show you why when we get going. I've found that this, for me, is particularly helpful. There we go. 1, 2, and 3. There we are. And then 4. So this works for me because when you are wrapping your wire around, you'll notice when you do it yourself that it can get a bit confusing where, you know, where each wire sits. So I've found if I number them, then it helps me. So hopefully it'll help you too. All right, so you've got our 4 base wires. So put 2, 3 and 4 out of the way for now. We come in with number 1. Righty ho. So come in with your 0.5 and you're going to need about, let's have a think, 60 centimeters, something like that. What's that in inches? Oh gosh, 24, something like that. But you know me, sometimes I use a little bit too much wire. Hey ho, let's see how it goes. It's probably too much, but you know, I can use it for something else. Pop your wire on the top of your base wire like so, and wrap it around a couple of times like so. So we have 3 wraps, and just keep that little tail out of the way. Okay, so this is what we have. Come in with your next wire like so, and place it on top like so. So you've got your first wire, your second wire. Wrap your 0.5 around and bring it behind. My brain isn't working today. Like so. And each time you do that, if you want to, just push it up a little bit with your plier. Just give it a little bit of a settle. Okay, everything needs to be relatively neat. Take wire 3, pop that over the top like so. And then again, wrap your 0.5 over and back behind like so. And again, come in with your pliers, give things a, not a smush so much as just sort of settling things down. And then you come in with your final wire, number 4, and pop that over the top like so, holding firmly with this hand, and then wrap your 0.5 wire over the top and back underneath. Come in with your plier if you need to. Give it a gentle, not smush so much, just sort of tidy things up. All right, so we've got 4, 3, 2 and 1. You see here? Now we want to reverse this, all right? So because we're going over the top, we've come over the top of wire 4, we want to bring your wire forward and put it in between 3 and 4. Okay? So this is 3, this is 4. So because we've marked our wires, it should be a little easier. Oops. In between 3 and 4, not over the top, Sammy. There you go. So in between 3 and 4 and back up the back. You see here? So we've got a little peak formed. Okay, so the last one was in between 3 and 4. The next one in between 2 and 3. So can you see here how I've marked them? Makes it much easier to recognize where you are. You can bend these slightly at this end if you want to, but try and keep this parallel, straight as you can. Okay, so you can see here we're now reducing, so we're coming down. The next one up the back in between 2 and 1, and that takes us literally back to the beginning. So we've made our first peak here. You see that? Yeah. So we want to make 7 of these. So each time I'll do another couple. So because we're along, we've just wrapped 1, we want to wrap around 2 the next time. So because it's at the back, bring it up in between 2 and 3 and tighten and back up the back. There's probably various ways of doing this, but this is how I do it. Okay, so as you can see, we've wrapped 1, 2, and now we want to wrap around number 3. Okay, so from the back in between 3 and 4, and you just get a rhythm going basically, like so, up the back, like so. Squish things together a little bit, and then over all of them, and then back up the back, like so. All right, so as you can see here, we've got another peak starting. So we want to reduce again now. All right, so because we've gone over number 4 here at the top, the next wrap wants to be over number 3. So we come in between 3 and 4, down and back up the back. Keep things nice and neatly and in place. So because the last one was over number 3, oh, another pleasure flight, there you go. We want the next one to be over number 2. So from the back, in between 3 and 2. And then up the back a little bit. And because this one was over number 2, the last one should be over number 1. So you bring it up in between 2 and 1. And back up the back. Okay, so I'll just do this one more time. So we have 2 peaks now, you see. This one is over number 1, so the next one needs to be over number 2. Okay, so we bring it in between 2 and 3, like so, and up. The next one needs to go over wire 3, so we bring it in between 3 and 4, like so, and up the back. Again, just keep things nice and neat. No smushing, just sort of settling, as I call it. And then the next one needs to be over number 4. So over all of them and up the back. I think once you get into a rhythm with this, it's actually relatively therapeutic. Just keep checking that you've got everything nice and neatly on the back, which you have. That looks good, doesn't it? And again, you know what, these are supposed to be organic-y, because at the end of the day, let me just show you, we're going to be squidging these around a little bit. So, you know, don't worry too much about it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so the last one was over number 4. So the next one has to be over number 3 because we're reducing, aren't we? So in between 3 and 4. Done that wrong, haven't I? Come here, from the back in between 3 and 4. That's it. And then up. That one's bent slightly, doesn't matter to me. So the next one has to be over number 2. So in between 2 and 3. And up. Like so. And the next one has to be over number 1. So in between 2 and 1. Okay, now we have 3. So let's just do one more and then we'll meet back. Okay, so the next one has to be over number 2 because this one is over number 1. Next one over number 2. So from the back, put it over number 2, like so. Looks complicated, but trust me, if I can do it, you can. Next one has to be over number 3. So from the back, in between 3 and 4, and over. Give it a bit of a tidy up. And then the next one, over all 4 of them. And back up, behind. And then we reduce it again. So over number 3. So in between 3 and 4, like so. In between 2 and 3, in between 1 and 2, like so, and just tidy things along. All right, so you want to make 7 peaks. All right, so I'm going to do 3 more and we'll meet back at the end. Okay, so I'll see you in a few. Right guys, how are you getting along? I'm just on the reduced peak of the number 7, the 7th peak now. Okay, so in between 3 and 4, from the back, Sammy, come on. In between 3 and 4, wait a minute, there we go, over number 4, in between 3 and 4 from the back, like so. Oh, everything goes pear-shaped when you do it on camera. Never mind, I kind of know what I'm doing. Okay, then in between 2 and 3, and in between 1 and 2. Everything should be nice and happy and in place, like so. Just jiggle things along a little bit, everything's happy. Now obviously you can use 4, 3 and 2 again and again. 1 we're going to be using as the base, all right? So but you can get rid of that later if you need to. So because we've got a couple of wraps, what did I do here? 3 wraps. Then we need to do another couple of wraps here on the last base wire. And then jiggle everything together. So this is what we have. That's pretty, isn't it? Super easy to do. All right, cool. So once you're happy with everything and everything looks pretty good, you're going to need to take out 4, 3 and 2, but keep everything on number 1. I told you we'd have too much wire, didn't I? So you know what? You probably get away with 60, 50 centimetres, 45 centimetres, something like that. About 14, 15 inches maybe, something like that. You'll work it out for yourself actually when you get going yourself. Right, so let us snip these off pretty close, like so, and then again like so. All right, and you just want to come in with your plier, just gently burnish that against the base wire, because we are going to be bending these guys around a little bit, so it doesn't have to be too precise. Yeah, just make sure everybody's happy. This is what we have. So very carefully come in with your plier, and you want to hold this as you're doing it. I think my ice machine's going to drop in a minute. Is it? No, it's not. It's fine. If it does, I'm sorry. Pull very gently by holding this here. Pull the base wire out. So like I say, you can use 2, 3 and 4. Again, pull number 3 out very gently, like so. So that's 4 and 3, and number 2, pull number 2 out. This is what we're left with. So we have a base wire here with your little wraps on. So you want to leave, I don't know, about how many centimeters is that? Where's my ruler? So you want to leave about, I don't know, 4 centimeters. Yeah, 4 centimeters should be fine, because we're going to be wrapping this, which is 7 centimeters. I'll show you what I mean. You come in with your bead. Where's my bead? Put your bead on, like so. All right, so we have, maybe that could be slightly less. There we go. No, we're around there-ish. Okay, so we're going to be wrapping this around the bead now. So actually that could probably come down a little bit more. There we go. So this is the bit where you need to make sure you've got, you know, decent grip on everything. Holding the bead up against here, don't let it sort of fall. You have to try and keep that as taut as you can. Without bending these, you need to hold against the bead and start to wrap that around, like so. Keep everything, it's warm in here, so my hands are a little warm. But you essentially start wrapping this around the bead. Keep going as neatly as you can, And that, where we have, excuse me, these 3 wraps here at one end, should fit over the top of these 3 wraps here that we've got, all right? So, can you see how that fits just nicely over the top, like so. This wire here at the back, if you can, straighten that up, just because it helps you a little bit later on. Okay, so here we have our wrap over. Keep going with your fingers until you're happy. There we are. So what we need to do is to bend this around in the center. Just gives it, I'll just show you, it just gives it a little bit of a frame, like so. All right, you can bend it right round, or you can bend it just a little bit around. Just use your fingers. Bend things neatly, as neatly as you can. There we go. Just keep going round with your fingers. Use your pliers if you want to. Move things around a little bit if you need to. You know, it's all about just using your fingers and your tools just to bend this around into an arc, like so. That's it. And then once you're happy, oops, just snip and pop that into place, like so. A little difficult sometimes, but come in with your plier. There we go, that's it, and just squeeze it into place. So this is what we have. So happy, if you're happy enough, just bend that down a little bit, that's fine. There we go. Just bear with me while I do this closer to my face, because I'm not quite happy with how that's bent. There we go. That's a bit better. Right, so this is what we have. I'm quite happy with, oops, sorry. I'm quite happy with that. There we go. Obviously, because I'm doing it in front of the camera, it's a little harder, but you know, you get the picture. Right then, so move everything around. So what I tend to do is to try and get this long piece here in between the dip in the sunbursty thing here, all right? So manipulate things around a little bit so it's in the center. There you go. So that just helps, I think, aesthetically, don't you think? Right, so you can leave it like that if you want. If you want to, you can put little bends and little arcs on these. You see how I've just bent them a little bit, which I think I probably will do because I think it looks pretty. So just arbitrarily just come in with your little pliers, bend them in all sorts of different directions, like so. Just whatever takes your fancy. I think like with anything else, just whatever you feel you want to do. Doesn't matter to me because these are supposed to be kind of organic-y, aren't they? And not sort of super neat and tidy. They're supposed to be a little bit organic. So just whatever takes your fancy. The last ones here, like so. There you go. How does that look? That's very pretty, I think. Yeah, and then just, you know, use your fingers, which are great tools, just to jiggle things around a little bit. If you're happy with it, that's it, isn't it? Wonderful. Right, so if you're wanting to make these into earrings, let's have a look. You know, you can do. I've used little copper beads here. If you're wanting to make them into earrings, literally, like so, we just want to be making a loop that sits flat rather than like that. It wants to be like that, okay? But we're going to make this into a pendant, I think. So we need to make a loop. So bend, see if I can get this into frame. Bend your wire about there. Sorry, wrong way. Bend your wire about there, like so. So it fits in between the little rays, if you will. And snip it about 1 centimetre, I would suggest. There we go. And then come in with your plier. So that's the front. So can you see the arc, the angle of that? Come in with your plier, just very gently bend this around your plier towards the back, like so. Now you've got your little hanging loop. Okay, how does that look? That looks really pretty, doesn't it? Right, so let's make something to hang off the bottom. So I've got, you know, you can use little crystals or whatever you like. I've got these little guys here, different colours, perhaps blue or, you know, whatever you like. They're only acrylic. You can use glass or whatever. I just thought that they looked really pretty, don't they? You think they look pretty? So we just come in with our little bit of 0.5 wire. So we're just going to make a wrap. Super easy, like so, and like so. That's it. Straighten that up. And we need to make a loop, don't we? So let's make a small one. I'll use my other pliers for this, I think. There we go. That's it. Like so, and then we'll pop it on this little bottom part of the ray here. Just pop it on like so. Okay, so it's hanging off the bottom, and then just come in, do some wrapping, wrap around, so that's all wrapped, and then just use the larger piece just to wrap it around, nice and sort of scrappily, if that's what you like. It's good. And then back up like so. I mean, you can just wrap these as scrappily or as neatly as you want. Doesn't matter to me, I'm not too fussed. I do like a little bit of scrappy, I just think it looks neat. Neat. Scrappy looks neat, you know what I mean, it looks nice. There we are. So that's hanging off the bottom of there, like so. There we go. How pretty is that? So all you need to do now is literally either make another one with the wire, you know, when you're bending it round, just put it on the other way round and bend it the other way round, if you will, just, you know, backwards, to make a pair of mirror image earrings. Otherwise, you know, there you go. Just suspend that off a chain. I love to mix my metals, so I'm happy to put it on a silver chain, but you can buy proprietary sort of copper coloured chains, or indeed, you know, you could pop it on a cord, couldn't you? Cord would look really, really nice. Just hang it off what you want and have a lot of fun making, have a lot of fun making these. I think they're really, really pretty. How gorgeous are those? Yeah, have fun. Let me know how you get on in the comments, and I will see you in my next video.